Well, the ANC National Spokesperson Pule Mabe says every effort has been made to ensure that the national conference from the 16th of this month at NASREC is credible. A number of ANC members have written to the party's electoral committee objecting to the NEC nomination list that was announced last week. The objectors demand that the total number of branch nominations received per candidate, including branch nominations, be provided. But the electoral committee hit back, saying the objections are unfortunate as they are based on a misconception of the ANC Constitution. Mabe says all the processes have been followed to the letter. Right now, let's discuss this and analyze the ANC conference that is going to be taking place, of course, in about 8 days' time. We're joined via Zoom by independent political analyst, Dr. Oscar van Heerden. Dr. van Heerden, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, to what extent are these objections? And I'd like to start with, of course, what we are hearing from the ANC's spokesperson, Pule Mabe, saying that every effort is being made, that the national conference is as credible as possible. But to what extent are these objectors now of the nominations of the, specifically in reference of the NEC, will they cast some form of doubt around the electoral commission of the party?
Thanks, Unati. I don't think so. You know, it's the ANC has gone quite a long way to try and make sure that past problems and challenges with regards to internal processes, particularly the election process, as you can imagine, is done properly. And so they've asked a former Secretary General, former President of the Republic, in the form of Kgalema Motlanthe, to bring that status to the Electoral Committee. And I think what the former President is communicating through the spokesperson of the ANC is that he is a man of integrity. He's not in the business of playing games and shenanigans, and that the rules have been followed. These are rules, by the way, that the NEC agreed on. And so I think Pule Mabe is reiterating the point that the committee operated within the ambit and within the rules, and it's unfortunate that there are some members who feel that there is some foul play involved.
Now, let's talk about that list. I mean, if you look at some of the characters that have been nominated onto that list, which essentially means that they will be included in the highest, decision body of the ANC. Some have said that, questionable characters have, been nominated. What do you make of that list?
I think it's a legitimate concern from certain quarters. I think that the process is such that branches nominate, unfortunately. And what will happen now, Unati, is that the committee is busy with vetting. There is a set of criteria. Kgalema and his team is now doing that process, looking at, do you have a criminal record? Is there anything untoward in terms of party discipline? You would recall that there's a number of people on the list that have had some transgressions on social media, that has clubbed a female, and many others. So these are matters that they are now taking into consideration, and hopefully, once they announce the final list, we are waiting with bated breath to see whether some of those names have actually been removed.
And now let's talk about developments that happened yesterday. The ANC Deputy President, hopeful Oscar Van confirming to the SABC that ANC provincial chairpersons are likely to meet, to discuss possibility of a united leadership. Of course, we know that there are 8 days before the national conference, but there's still a lot of uncertainty around President Ramaphosa's political future, as an example. What are your thoughts, first and foremost, of this formation of this united leadership? And what are these chairpersons then likely to discuss, or should I say, negotiate?
Look, I mean, there is a culture in the ANC, and it has a long-standing established culture, where the ANC tries very hard to not have contestation, particularly for the president position. They want to put up a united front. They want to give an impression that they agree on one name, and so on. That has not always been the case. There has been a few instances at some of the previous national conferences where there has been open contestation. We recall Winnie Mandela also challenging, Chris Hani challenging, and so on and so forth. So it's not something new, but the ANC does try and avoid it. And I think what Mabuyane is trying to suggest is, instead of having an ugly showdown and a divisive conference, let's see if we can resolve matters prior and then take branches into confidence. I'm not sure it's going to work.
And just final, Dr. van Heerden, before I let you go, just looking at some of, the comments that are made by some of the ANC, top leadership in their capacities within the party and, of course, in their roles in government. I want to know and just get a sense from you what you make of recent comments that the Mineral Resources and Energy Minister, Gwede Mantashe, made in as far as load shedding is concerned. He basically said that it is becoming worse off than state capture. What do you make of those comments, particularly coming from him?
I think there's a general acknowledgement from the likes of the Minister, Gwede Mantashe, but also the President, that they seem unable to try and find a solution, a workable solution to the problems of Eskom, to the actual base load and the grid. And they're openly acknowledging it now, in a way, trying to say to the public, we are trying everything at our powers to try and resolve the matter, but it is a persistent problem. And I fear that if they don't resolve it soon, they are going to take a beating from the electorate come 2024.
Prof, thank you. Dr. van Heerden, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate it. Of course, political analyst there, Dr. Oscar van Heerden, just weighing in on the ANC ahead of its national conference in about 8 days' time.